Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the witching hour. That time right after meals when everybody's in a food coma and now you got to listen to me chat. Lucky you. Let's start off with a couple questions. How many people here have spent the night in your local Catholic church's confessional? Nobody? All right. How about the back room at Arby's? Come on. All right. Well, let's get to something easier. Are you a man or a woman? Now, that question has more meaning today than it did 50 years ago. So let's just at least try some question you might be able to answer. Why the heck are you here? Why am I here? Questions and answers. It's the way we think. All day long, we are asking ourselves questions, looking at the answers, making decisions, and then going from there. Do you realize that the average person makes 35,000 choices in a day? 35,000 choices. That means that every hour you are making 1,954 choices. Wow. And all those questions. And there's good questions and there's bad questions. And the answers you get will come from the way you pose the questions. You see, our brain can't resist questions. It just doesn't resist it. What it does is it listens to them. And if you give a number of questions or give the same question a number of times, that brain will then go to work for you, whether it's a good question or a bad. Remember that saying, ask and you shall receive? That works for both good and bad. So you have to be aware of the questions and the way you're asking it. Be aware of these things. So this is going to be an interactive class. We're going to have a question from time to time, and I'd like to see hands raised or something along those lines. I'm not selling you things, so you don't have to worry about it. But just do me a favor. Remember the questions that I mentioned at the start. I'm going to come back and visit those later. Okay, I heard it. Somebody had it. Somebody asked it. How do we know whether we can differentiate whether it's a good question or a bad question? The way it's posed. It's that simple. Bad question. Bad question is, why is everything going wrong in the world today? Your mind will gladly answer that in the way you asked it. Well, because politicians are rotten. You can't trust anybody. Everything's going all to heck, you know? You just got to give up. Bad question, bad answer. Good question. As an artist, what can I do to make my art more saleable? What can I do to get my name out there? And your mind will sit there and answer it that way. Well, practice it every day. Start working on it. Maybe get some instruction. And you know what? You can be the greatest artist in the world, but if your art is only stuck in your living room or in your studio, nobody's going to buy it. Maybe you need to get a marketer. Maybe you should learn how to market. It's that simple. Good question or bad question. 35,000 of those things every single day. So if they're so important because they determine the outcome of what we do, they determine whether we're going to be successful or not, maybe we should look at what goes into determining our questions. First thing is perspective. The perspective you have in life, the perspective you have in the question that you're asking about, you've got to realize that you have to be aware of the perspective. And if you don't like the perspective or it's a bad perspective, then change it. Some ideas on that. Let's see. I really shouldn't mention this. Look, all right. Look, I'm gonna share something with you that I haven't shared with anybody else. So please don't go running out the door screaming and yelling. Just bear me out for a second, okay? I love dog fights. I love dog fights. I think they're fantastic. I love the action. I want to see who wins. I think they're great. I was at a dog fight about 4 or 5 years ago, and I ran into a friend of mine who's an FBI agent. And he goes, Bill, what are you doing here? I said, Buzz, I'm sorry, but I love dog fights. I really do. I said, why are you here? He says, you know how it is. I'm always on the job. So we chatted a few more minutes. And I said, hey, look, we're going to miss the action. Let's get over to the field. I think they're getting ready to start the fights. So we go over to the field just in time to see these guys grab their remote control planes, start them up, and they zoom off in the sky with these red tails behind them. And the idea is to watch them tear the tails off of everybody else. And whoever has the longest tail at the end of the dogfight wins. Gotcha. Perspective, guys, perspective. I lost my sister this summer. She died in May. Bad thing and a good thing. Well, how can that be a good thing? Because in the year 2000, she was told that she had 60 days to live. She had stage 4 terminal cancer, and the doctors and all the major medical associations, MD Anderson, Sloan Kettering, Moffitt, Mayo, Cleveland, all said the same thing. Go home, you're dead. You got 60 days to live. One doctor came out and said, you know what? 98% of the people that have what you have are dead in less than 60 days. You know what my sister answered? I feel sorry for those 98 people. It took them 22 years for the cancer to get her. Not 6 months, not 60 days, 22 years. All in the perspective, folks, all in the perspective. I teach classes down in Florida. And they're for engineers and contractors and continuing education classes. And I was talking to this one contractor. We're talking about the fact that the Daytona Speedway was rebuilt, not the whole thing, but just their grandstands. 1/5 of all of the steel manufactured in the United States of America was sent down to Daytona to rebuild their grandstands. 1/5 of all the steel. The contractors that were working there had to sign a contract that said that if they do not get their portion done by the Daytona 500 race, they would have to pay for all seats that were not sold. I said, how much is that? He said, a maximum of $25,000. He said, wow, what did you do? I walked away. I'm not going to challenge that. I said, let me ask you a couple of questions. I said, if you didn't get it done by the Daytona 500, could you still finish the project? Well, yeah. I said, how much would your net profit have been if you finished the project? About $150,000 to $200,000. So I said, let me get this straight. You walked away from $150,000 to $200,000 net profit because you feared losing $25,000. He said, absolutely. I said, did you ever think that maybe if you had to pay the $25,000, you'd still be ahead net of 125 to 175? I won't give you his answer, but it wasn't good. So they also interviewed bricklayers. Why are you laying bricks? I like to lay bricks. Another answer. Why are you laying bricks? Because I get paid $25 an hour. Why are you laying bricks? And this one guy said, I am laying bricks because one day I'm going to be able to bring my children over here and say, see that brick and that brick? I built that church that's going to be standing for over 100 years. All in the perspective. Now, artists, well, they have a problem with this because they look at the perspective and they think, oh my gosh, my work's not good enough. Oh my gosh, how am I going to compete with this well-known artist? Oh my gosh. And you know what? You don't have to, because you are your own artist. Instead of asking the bad question, Ask the good question. How can I get ahead? How can I do this? So what goes into these questions that we ask? What helps us set these things up? Besides perspective, well, your goals. Your goals are really important. And there are several steps to making goals. Here's one of those interactive questions. How many people here know how to write goals? Honestly, by show of hands. Okay, we'll ask you again at the end of the program. How do you write a goal? We have several steps. Number one step is you have to have a purpose, a why. Why are you writing this goal? Why do you want this goal? The stronger the why, the better chance of success. It's great. Just make sure you start off with a great why. Next thing, it must be written. If it's not written, it's a dream, it's an idea, it's a thought. But if it's written, it's got some continuity. And it's got to be written in a present sense. Can't be written in the future. I don't think I want, no, it's got to be written in the present sense. I am so thankful and grateful that it is December 31st, 2022, and I have finally mastered the art of walking and chewing gum at the same time. Next thing, it has to be specific. All too often, people say, well, I have a goal of making more money. Well, come on up, I'll give you $1, you just got your goal. Several years ago, my father died. And when my father died, my sister was given the task of distributing his watches. He had a great watch collection to his two sons, my brother and I. My sister was supposed to be responsible for that. Instead of doing that, she gave them all to her husband. Gotta love it. I decided I didn't want to have anything like that happening in my family when my day comes. So I decided that I was going to buy a Rolex, wear it for a year, and then give it to my son. And then I was going to buy another Rolex, wear it for a year, and give it to my other son. Take care of it ahead of time. So I decided to look at Rolexes. And there was one that I loved. It was great. It was a Submariner, had this blue face on it, had some gold trim on it. It was fantastic. So I looked for a picture of it so I could put it up on my board so I could keep looking at that. But I couldn't find a picture of it. No matter where I looked, I couldn't find it. But I did find a picture of another Rolex. It was another Submariner. So I cut that one out and I put it on the board. A year later, I walked into a store down in the Bahamas, cash in hand, and I looked at the Rolexes. And they pointed them all out, and there's that one that had that, that blue face on it with the gold on it. I thought, wow, there it is. I think I'll take one over here. I didn't know why. The price was pretty much the same, but I took that one over there. I got home, and it was the one that was on my poster board. I had been specifically looking for that one, and I got it. Very happy with it, but it was sort of interesting that that happened. So be specific. Next thing is stretch your comfort zone. If you don't stretch your comfort zone, you don't have a goal. If you know how to do it already, you don't have a goal. So if I say to myself, I am so happy and grateful because by December 31st, 2023, I will paint one plein air painting that's going to be 4 inches by 6 inches. Well, I can tell you this, I am the worst artist in this room by far, but I can still get a 4 by 6 plein air painting done by December 31st, 2023. Push the limits. Get out of the comfort zone. Goals should be massive, earth-shaking. Desires that you have, they give you chills that go up and down your spine and goosebumps on your arms. You should be scared of them. You shouldn't know how to do them, but you should be committed to them. Set a specific date for them. It has to have a specific date, or else it's just no good. Gee whiz, I want to be a world famous ballerina. Ain't gonna happen. But if I don't set a date for it, it will never happen. Now, this is the one thing about setting goals that is different from everything else, because some things happen. Sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes we get unhealthy. Sometimes something happens with our family. So you can move the date. It's okay. Don't get rid of it. Just move it. And when you move it, put it down again and write the goals. By the way, on all these things, make sure that you keep reviewing these things on a regular basis. Okay, next thing. Set up mini steps. If I set a goal for myself that is so out of control, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be disenchanted. I'm going to give it up. I want to make $1 million this year. Well, if I've only made $50,000 or $60,000 a year before this, I'm going to look at that $1 million. I'm going to go, oh my God, I can't do this. So what you do is you set up mini steps. Mini steps. It's called chunking. And what you do is you chunk. You set up a mini step. When you reach that step, you celebrate and you put up another step and another step. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at obstacles that you're going to come up across as you're going down the pike, because you're going to have obstacles. Some of the obstacles are going to be small, like a straw on the floor or something. Others are going to be like a massive steel vault. But if you are ready for them, you will be able to take those obstacles and get through them. It's not going to be easy all the time, but if your purpose is strong enough, you will get through those obstacles. Chunking, mini steps. Now, artists tend to have this thing again. But Bill, there's a lot of better artists out there. There's a lot of better known artists. The art world is changing. What am I going to do? To which I say, who cares? Who cares? Because you're the only one that matters. You are in competition with one person, and that person is the person you look at in the mirror every morning. Because you're never going to find anybody, anywhere, that matches every single one of your facets in life. Do what you can. Enjoy it. And just keep growing all the time. Goals help you with these things. Now, last thing I want you to do is envision. See it as if it's happened. Celebrate it. Feel it as if it has absolutely happened right now. I've just reached my goal. I close my eyes. I can see where it is. I can see who's present. I can feel the emotion. I can see how it's going to affect my life. I can see how great this goal is going to be. And then you know what else you should look at? What would happen if I don't do this? And that'll help spur you on. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Some people feel that they shouldn't ask for help. It's a sign of weakness. Oh, geez, can you help me, please? No, it's not. It is not. Anybody, everybody in the world at some time or another had to ask somebody else for help and might have been afraid to do so. It could be the richest person in the world. It could be the poorest person in the world. It could be the wealthiest person, or it could be the healthiest person in the world. It could be the sickest person in the world. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was at a conference about 5 or 6 years ago, and I had to call Chris. So I went outside so I didn't disturb anybody else, and I made a phone call. As I'm on the phone, finishing up my call, I see this man coming down the aisle, coming right towards me. I'm sitting at a table outside the conference room, and he comes over and he sits down next to me. Hi. I'm Bill Knapp. I'm Kevin Harrington. Kevin Harrington, the billionaire who started Shark Tank. Kevin Harrington, the man who developed the As Seen on TV. And he sat there for a half hour talking to me. Then he went and gave his lecture, and they said, would you join us for lunch? He said, yeah, but I want Bill Knapp to join us. That was pretty cool because he was wide open about things. He told me how at one point, now this man is a billionaire. At one point, he fell out of the ranks of billionaire. And he realized that his questions and his perspective had altered. And he said, you know what I did, Bill? I'm thinking some real deep answers coming. I said, what? I laughed at myself. I said, what kind of a fool am I? I realized that I had to change things. I realized that I had to get back on the horse and ride it again. And he said, you know what happened? Richard Branson called me. Richard Branson, who developed Virgin Airlines, Virgin Records, Virgin Cruise Lines. He's another billionaire. And he says, Kevin, I don't think you know me yet, but we know of each other. And Kevin Harrington thought, this is a joke, but it wasn't. And Branson said, I'm picking you up in my jet in an hour. We're going down to my island. And what they did was they went down to his island, and he showed me pictures of this. Oh man, do they party. They were putting on sumo suits, Branson and Harrington, and bumping into each other. They put on toga parties. Oh my God, what toga parties. And then they sat down and drank, and then they said, now let's look at things. And they changed their perspective. They changed the way they were looking at things. They changed their questions. And it wasn't long before Kevin Harrington ascended back into the clouds with the billionaires, where he stays at today. He also told me something that I thought was very interesting. He said, you know what? On Shark Tank, 8 out of 10 of the things that we decide to invest in are major failures. Now, how many of us, if we were doing something and failed 8 out of 10 times, would continue doing that? We'd probably run and hide, but they didn't. And he said that the money that they made on the 2 that were successful far outweighed all the losses that they had on the other 8. They looked at the overall picture. And he said, I wasn't afraid to ask. You have to ask for help, then get the help. It's that simple. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a willingness to learn. It's a willingness to grow. And that is almost preaching to the choir for people in here, because everybody is in here has a desire to learn something from our instructors, has a desire to learn something and take it home. It could be earth-shattering, or it could be a tiny little morsel. You just never know what it's going to be. And it doesn't matter whether it's earth-shattering or a tiny little morsel. A number of years ago, Chris was in a class with Mort Solberg. Wonderful person. We miss him dearly. She finished the painting. It was a pretty good painting. Then Mort comes over and he looks at it, picks up a brush, and he flicks it. That was it. What he did was he put tiny little black spots on the rocks that Chris had drawn. The rocks look great. But when Mort did that, you felt like you could reach out and pick those rocks right off the page. Just that tiny little morsel. She was in another program one time with a man called Dan Chen. Dan Chen is a very accomplished Chinese artist. And he asked people to bring in their work. And so Chris took in this dog that she had made. It was a life-size dog, and it was a commission, still in clay. She brought it in. Dan Chen looked at it. Okay. Chris, do you mind if I make a little change to it? She goes, no, please do. Now, this was taking place in Diane Mason's studio in Berthoud. And her studio is right next to her husband's garage or big barn. So Dan walks out of the room, goes into the barn, comes back into the room with a 2x4. And Chris is going, Dan takes that 2x4, holds it like a baseball bat and goes, whack. And he put this tiny little curve in that dog. And that dog went from being a very good dog to a great looking dog. The person was thrilled with it, absolutely thrilled with it. And then she recast it, took it to the Loveland Art Show a month ago, and somebody came up, no questions, no argument, no bickering or anything else. And they said, I want that dog, and they bought it. And that's not a cheap piece. So even if it's a small morsel or a big morsel, doesn't matter. Just remember, a small bit of information can make a bad piece of art into a mediocre piece of art, or a mediocre piece of art into a good piece of art, or a good piece of art into a very good piece of art, or a very good piece of art into a world-class piece of art. So take everything you can from these instructors, because they've got phenomenal information. A couple of other things. Statistics. I feel that most statistics are out there to scare us. I really do. Let's consider a few. 1%ers. anybody know what a 1%er is? Hell's Angels. They all wear it on their patches. 1%ers. We are 1% of the motorcycle riders, and we know how to ride our bikes. Is that true? I don't know. 25%. 25% of Americans read 5 books or more a year. 75% don't read hardly anything. And a lot of Americans never read a book since they graduated from high school or college. That's scary. 72%. 72% of people distrust Facebook. All right, that one I can understand. You know, that's a given. 56% of Americans rely on Social Security and only on Social Security when they get to retirement age. 56%. 96.5% of your daily actions, responses, and activities are habitual. In other words, they're robotic. Today, I was practicing this speech. As I went over, didn't tell you this, Chris, probably wouldn't have ridden with me, but I was practicing this speech as I went over to get Chris Rollins, which meant that I was putting a lot of attention on the speech, which meant that a lot of my driving was robotic. We do it all the time. Here's the bad one. 5%. After all those things, 56% of people who rely on Social Security, 96.5% of people who are doing things on a robotic basis, 25% that are only reading a small amount of books a year, and yet there's only 5% of people in the United States today that actually believe or participate in personal or self-development. I would love to see that figure go up. All we can do is get better at it. The world's changing. The world is really changing. But you know what? It's always been changing. It's been changing since it started spinning. I mean, look at the things that have happened over the years. It's not something that's new. 50 years ago, Bob Dylan wrote that song, "The Times They Are A-Changing." And even before that, you look at all the changes we've gotten into. And the art world is nothing different from that. It's changing as well. And people are starting to freak on it, or they're starting to worry about it. And they're starting to think, oh my gosh, you know, what's going on? I mean, we've got people that are doing work on computers. We've got people that are doing modern art, some of which is really good, some of which we sit there and just laugh at, some of which is just absolutely absurd, at least in my humble opinion. But it all sells. People are using 3D printers. We have a friend who will design something on his computer, send it to a 3D printer. He makes a model out of it, sends it to, I think it's like a foundry where it's made into carbon fiber and covered with some kind of a polyester thing, or not polyester, polychrome or something that keeps it weatherproof. Very simplistic. Is he successful? I don't know. I do know that he sold one to the city of Aspen for $1 million. So what do? Do we ignore it? Do we run from it? Do we hide? No, we accept it. We look at it. We see what we can learn from it. And then we grow from it. Look at art over the ages, from the hieroglyphics to the petroglyphs, to the simple art, all the way up to the masters. Then we got people like Dali and Picasso that come on the scene. And people are going, holy cow, what's going on here? But you know what? Every single one of those things still sell. There's ample room for people to sell things out there. Yes, the costs have changed a little bit, or a lot of bit. Some things have gone way down. That guy with his art, he can't have $100 in those pieces. Bronze, on the other hand, has gone way up. We just adapt. And so you look at this stuff and you think about it and you realize that there's always room for art and there's always people that want to buy it. I went over to Jackson Hole the other day, ran into Andrew and Guy. They were over there for, I think it's called the quick auction, if I'm not mistaken. Quick draw. Anyway, it was an auction over there. This little town of Jackson had about 300 people at this quick auction or quick draw, whatever it was, and the sales were going by and they were doing rather well. People are interested in buying your art. And if you're worried about that, think about this. There are 53,900 people in North America. If you could only reach 1/1000th of a percent of those people, that's better odds you get than you get at the bank on your interest. No, it's worse odds actually. Anyway, 1/1000th of a percent. That's 53,900 people. There are people that are out there that want your art. There are people that are out there that will be happy to pay for the art. And the prices are inconsequential. I'm sorry if I mispronounced this man's name, but I read about an artist. His name is, it's Basquiat, I think, Basquait. Okay, Basquiat, whatever. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry, he's dead. Anyway, somebody bought one of his paintings for $5,000. Several years later, they sold it for a mere $10,100,000. There are people out there that will buy your paintings. Don't worry about it. Just deal with it and learn and grow and do more things with it. Study it. It's great stuff. You guys are in a great position right now. Yes, the world of art is changing, but so what? It has always changed. And realism will always be wanted. So, one other thing I wanted to point out, I should have pointed this out earlier. Some artists wonder about their work and why they do it. They say, well, I'm doing it because I love it, or I do it because I'm like to, make a living at it. But then I heard a response that said that I am creating my art because I want to pique people's emotions. Not just now, but down the road, even after I'm gone. That's what's going to make my art so special to me and to everybody else. The other day, I didn't tell him I was going to do this. He was going to probably kill me. I asked Andrew Denman that same question. And he gave me the most prolific, the most beautiful answer. Took about 2 minutes explaining about how you're investing in art. You are investing not just in yourself, but you're investing in the artist. You're investing in the future. I would strongly suggest you talk to Andrew and ask him for that answer. When he was finished, Guy Combs looked at me and said, wow, he had that down. It was great. I've never heard such an eloquent description. Ask him and adopt it. Oh, it's true. So, back to those questions at the beginning. Have you ever slept in a Catholic church confessional for a night or a week or a month? Have you ever slept in the back room of an Arby's? I did. You see, when I went to college, my father said, I will pay for everything. I will take care of you. I'll pay for your room, the books, the board. I'll give you money for entertainment. Well, I went from an all-boys Catholic boarding school in St. Louis to Party City, the University of Dayton. You know what? There were these lovely creatures running around. Oh man, they were wearing these short shorts, mini skirts, and people were drinking this amber colored liquid that had foam on the top. Man, I was all in. And at the end of my first semester, I was a very proud owner of a 1.0 grade point average. 4 things happened. Number 1, my father cut me off. I respect him for the decision. It really showed me that I'm responsible for everything in my life. Number 2, I had to hop on a plane from Mexico, because that's where they were living at the time, and fly back to Dayton, get on my knees, crawl into the dean's office and say, please let me back into school. Number 3, I had to find out as many student loans as I could get in the 2 weeks before school started. And 4, I started picking up jobs everywhere. And I had to keep those jobs all the time until I graduated from law school. But how about but how about that Arby's, and how about the confessional? Well, at the end of my second semester, I had to pay for summer school because I had to get my grades up just to keep going. It was funny though. I got to tell you the truth. I was begging for D's in my freshman year. And I appealed everything below a B or above a B. From a B below after my freshman year. But I didn't have any money and they were closing the dorms. So I was homeless for 6 months. And I lived in the confessional. I can tell you something about confessionals. They're very uncomfortable. You don't get much rest. You have to worry that the priest is going to come in and call the police. And Arby's, well, it wasn't quite as bad because I worked over there. That was when Arby's really did have the meats. But anyway, I did have to ask myself questions, didn't I? I mean, I'd be stupid. I'd be a moron if I wasn't asking myself questions. Now, I can tell you this. I was a pride, arrogant idiot, but I wasn't a moron. I mean, I could have called my dad up and told him, apologized, and I would have been out of the woods, but no, I wasn't going to do that. I had to make it myself. So the questions I had to ask were, what is my goal? Because I knew what my goal was. Nothing was going to stop me from that goal. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't even know where the next meal was going to come from, but I had that goal. And if you have that goal and you keep going for it, you're going to get it. What were the other questions? Oh yeah. Are you a man or a woman? That question already gives you the answer. Whoever asked that question isn't interested in you. The answer is they're being sarcastic. Are you a man or a woman? That question was posed of a man 50 some years ago. What happened was he was very proud of his wife. He thought she had great talent. So what he did is he sent samples of her talent to people all over the place. Most people ignored it. One person responded and he said, I'm not interested. Is it a man or a woman? Well, the woman said, heck with him. I'm going to show the world. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I am going to do it. That woman's name? Cher. Honest to God. And here she is, 50 years later, still wooing the world with her art and her talent and her singing. And somewhere, some idiot is going, oh my God, did I pass up a golden opportunity? Ask questions. Why the heck are you here? Well, I'm hoping that you're here to pick up some morsel, some piece of information. I'm hoping you're here to pick up something that you'll be able to take home and grow with it, Just like with the instructors, get their information and grow with it. Why am I here? This is my passion. I do it all the time. I love to do it. I'll do it even if I'm not paid. I will do it and I'll try to help anybody because that's my passion. I want to help people. We all have our purpose. Follow that purpose and go out and have fun. Make your own fun. Do you realize if you make your own fun, it's your fun? If somebody else makes the fun for you, it's called entertainment. Think about it. Review your questions. Review your answers. Review your perspective. See if they are in tune with what you really want to do. And I would strongly suggest when you go out there and set the world on fire, that you adopt the motto, I will do whatever it takes. Thank you.
Is it on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. We've had the honor of judging this incredible art show today, and it was really difficult. There are some amazing artists here, and the artwork was incredible. And I've got to say, it was better than last year's. So congratulations to everybody that entered, because you did a great job with your pieces. Beautiful. We're going to start with the other medium, which includes everything that is not oil, acrylics, or watercolor. And our honorable mention is Prairie Saga by Anna Rose. Come on up. Great job. Great job. When is photograph taken? You're welcome. Congratulations. Great job. Yeah, we'll hang it back up for you. Third place, difficult again, Childhood Buddy by Susan Daniels. Is that right? Susan Daniels, come on up. Congratulations. This was really a unique piece. Well, all three of us. Come on. Great job. We'll hang them back up there for you. Second place, this was a tough one. First and second place were really tough. Chris Rollins and his Golden Crown Nightlit. Come on up. Great job. Great job. Hey, you're going. Color for a change. Congratulations. Deb Otterstein, come on up. You got first place with your stare down. Beautiful piece. Congratulations. There we go. Okay, watercolors next. Again, difficult. Sunflower by Zia. I understand you finished this last night. No, No, okay. Oh, that's okay. Great job. Bruce Sign, Alaska Swan. Very good, very good. After the show, we'll hang everything back up so you can see which people and which amazing pieces of art won the different awards. And the first place is Circle K Tack Shack by Joy Kiwan. Come on up. Beautiful piece. Again. Oh, good, good, congratulations. Okay, now the oil and acrylic category. Rusty Swamp Ghost, beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. Come on, Rusty. Your art just keeps getting better and better. Uh-oh, you got paid all over. Yeah. Well, Don will hold it for you.
Rusty never
There
stopped
we go.
paying.
This one was fascinating. Everybody enjoyed second place, which is the Old Ford Grill by Rose. Is she here? Oh, good. There we go. Congratulations. Yeah, sorry, I don't look so. Here. Hey, John, now I'm finally tall. Congratulations. First place in oil and acrylic was Pretty in Pink by Mark Hem. Of course. Way to go. No, it's not surprising. Congratulations. Oh, thank you. Okay, the next one is the Siri Lester Award. This award used to be the Roger Tory Peterson Award, and then when John passed away, we decided to turn it into the Siri Lester Award. It's really near and dear to my heart. We do have a trophy for this. John Phelps is making it. It hasn't been cast yet, so the person that receives this award this year, we will send it out to you as soon as we get it. So the John Siri Lester Award is by Kyle Denning. Congratulations. Great job. Great job.
I really admire John Sylvester. I admired him not just because of what a great painter he was, but I admired him because he was a great friend of SKB, and he shared everything with each of us. And the other thing I admired him for was how he loved and appreciated Susan. What a sweetheart she is.
we'll hang it back up and that's going home with me. Okay, the next one is the watercolor award. The best in show for the Mort Solberg Trophy. Bill, with your pronghorns. Way to go, Bill. Turn around so that we can get you.
I want to say Mort, there was Mort and John and Greg and Bob Kinky who made such a major difference in Jill's life as far as her goals and just the inspiration and around these artists that are here and they're my heroes from when 20, 30 years ago to just be around these people. She doesn't grasp that yet, but she loved Mort so much. She talks about him constantly. Just really, just did so much for her. So.
Thank you. The next one is the Jim Parkman Purchase Award, correct? Oh, the Frame Award. Okay, the best, the Frame Award for the best frame is going to Bighorn by Peggy Dyke. And she gets a beautiful frame that is like, what is the name of Janine's company? I'm sorry, the frame company? High Plains. Okay. Yes. So you receive the frame award.
That'll go in your suitcase.
You can't step back there. Okay, step back now. Okay, this is the Jim Parkman Purchase Award. It is Riding the Storm Out. Marcy? Congratulations.
Stop recording.
And one last award. This was an easy one. This is Best of Show. Martha, it's yours. Called Settling It by Martha Thompson. This was an easy pick. Congratulations. So proud of you. All the judges were unanimous on this piece. It's beautiful. Great. We'll hang all these pieces back up with the ribbons so everybody can enjoy the beautiful artwork that you guys have produced. Thank you again. It was a difficult choice in some cases and amazing artwork. So continue to strive, Send your pieces in next year. We really look forward to judging. 1 minute, 1 minute. Don?
Okay, hi, everybody. I was just finishing dinner and heading up to get these artworks together. And Pam said, "Oh, Don, could you give out the Rose Award?" And, I'm kind of new to SKB, and I've seen these medallions hanging from people's necks, but I said, I'm not sure what this is really all about. So Pam explained, this has nothing to do with the artistic achievement of the artists. It has to do with their service to SKB. And so the artist is going to win it this year. Every year I've come, I have looked forward to spending time with this artist. And he's an artist that has always shared his expertise with people freely, whether you're, a leading artist in the field or a new student coming in. I think particularly newer artists coming in. I look forward to his ability to paint in the outdoors and have that experience of observing the natural environment and that passion for the natural environment and transforming that passion into an extraordinary piece of artwork. And he has this amazing ability to do that and to share that with other people. And people want to be out there with him in the field, observing nature and sharing that experience. And I think it's one of the things that he's actually one of the artists I think that come maybe furthest of any of the artists in terms of traveling each year and still and makes that journey out here. And I think it's just an amazing contribution to SKB. I mean, he even helps me, like not just really good artists, but people like me, and so I appreciate that. And so luckily, in this case, he's not just an artist that's done great service to SKB, but he's actually a really good artist and has been well recognized for this artwork. I'm not as familiar with that, so I have to refer to some notes here, but he is recognized as one of America's really great contemporary naturalist painters, outdoorsman. He's a great art instructor. But he's also been recognized as a great portrait painter. And he's won awards from the Portrait Society of America and from the International Portrait Competition and the Arc Salon. He got his training at the internationally acclaimed School of Lime Academy in New England. And actually, what's that? All right. Won several scholarships there. And after graduating, he's specialized in kind of painting the Appalachian scenes. But he also does sculpture and won some awards and recognition for that, sculpting the Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, and for the Charles Coolidge Museum and National Medal of Honor at the Heritage Center. So an artist of great achievement as well as great service to SKB. And so this year, we are very proud to give the Rose Award to Caleb Goggins.
I feel like it's I certainly wasn't expecting this. Thank you. No, it's a real honor because all of the people who have received it before have been people that have been here from very early on with the organization and poured in a lot more time than I have, a lot more time and a lot more of their life and their artwork. So I really appreciate this, Pam, Susie, all of you on the board. It is a huge honor. Thank you.
I think we want to get the other award winners up, right? For a great group photo.
Am I still on? Oh, there I am. Okay, I wanted to show. Also, Caleb gets the shadow box with a replication of the medal that he can hang in his studio wherever. And it says, the Susan Kathleen Black Foundation's Board of Directors, with unanimous consent, recognize the valuable and unselfish contributions of Caleb Goggins for best capturing the purpose and spirit of the foundation, and as a testimonial to his leadership and great respect and admiration in which he is held, we accord him our highest honor by granting him the Rose Award. That ends our program for this evening, but if you would please take a look at the whiteboard on your way out and look at your agenda for tomorrow. We've added a very special event tomorrow headed